Hello, this is Roxana, and this is part two of a two-part episode on Aladdin. If you would like to enjoy the full episode, please go back and listen to part one. Thank you and enjoy.
Aladdin 2019 was directed by Guy Ritchie, and I want to die.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore with people who paid money to go see this movie, who made it make
It made
$1
over $1 billion.
billion. Lobotomites walking among us. You should be in
It was
prison
directed by.
if you liked this movie.
um, Aladdin 2019 was directed by Guy Ritchie and written by Ritchie and John August. And if you don't know who John August is, I don't know if I even mentioned to you, he wrote Big Fish.
That's a real movie.
That just hurts more. That's a real movie. That's a real fucking movie. Where the fuck do we start? You got your notes?
I got so many notes. I'm just gonna go in order. We're gonna do the same thing we did for the original.
All right, so I just want to note this is the most notes that she ever took for one of these, as far as I'm aware.
Probably. Maybe
that's true,
more
right?
For Beauty and the Beast. I'd have to count that.
We're not gonna count.
Well, I'll just scroll for my notes here. Okay, it looks like I took a little bit more for Aladdin. Oh yes. No, I took way more for Aladdin. Okay. So we start on a fucking boat. When I say, why are we on a boat?
I'm on a
Will
boat.
Smith's on a fucking boat. And he has his two little
kids. On a boat.
He's like, you're fucking kids. And I'm Will Smith. And I'm gonna tell you the story of Aladdin and Jasmine and the lamp. So, we started on, we used to start on that great tone set of Arabian Nights, but no, we need to have Arabian Nights after a fucking framing device, which is pointless. And of course, I don't need to tell you that this movie's butt ugly. This movie looks like shit from a butt. You already know that. But
it does, in fact, look like shit
fucking
from a butt.
Arabian Nights, it butchers the atmosphere so much. We talked about how it teaches the audience about the tone, and that's all gone here. It's just sweeping fucking drone shots, which aren't even real drone shots because it's all CGI. God, getting
let her rip.
Just talking about it, and they, we also talk about the tone set that it goes from that. There's the merch in the middle, but then it goes from that to Jafar and that such a moody scene in the desert, very very moody. No, we pushed that scene with Jafar into Arabian Nights. Now the giant tiger head doesn't rise out of the sand menacingly. It's just in the side of a cliff for some fucking reason. And we can't have these different tones. We have to speed run everything. This is something you said, Roxy, when we were watching them. That these movies, these remakes, feel they need to speed run all the original plot points, despite the fact that they're all longer than the originals. So they
yes
they rush through the stuff that matters in order to have even more space to add bullshit that doesn't fucking matter. I could just I'm gonna run out of breath.
You know what this is? This is you getting a view into the way I process a lot of things all the time. Because I'm always like this, and you're not always like this.
It's so ugly.
It's a very ugly movie. And I never know. I try not to assign too much blame because these things are such a bad idea. Always fundamentally misconceived. And I know you said to me that you do in fact blame Guy Ritchie in part, like for a lot of reasons, because he did co-write the screenplay. And I still try to pull back in a lot of ways because I don't know what it is working on one of these things. I can't imagine they let you do jack shit. Genuinely, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what that is like. I don't want to think about it. I think I would be fighting for my life.
Oh, I got so focused on how they butcher the visuals and the tone of Arabian Nights. I forgot to mention that the music is also terrible. They completely butcher the sound of it. You know, I think it's Will Smith sings it, and it's really bad. It's really really bad. His singing in this movie, on this and Prince Ali and Friend Like Me, it's not singing and it's not rapping. It's somewhere in between, and it doesn't fucking work
Which is
at
what Will
all
Smith tends to do.
for Broadway shit. It's Broadway shit. You realize that, right? This is a Broadway musical movie.
I'm gonna address something real quick, and I'm gonna let her rip because you just let her rip. I'm gonna do it. There are two songwriters. Their names are Ben Pasek and Justin Paul.
I was gonna make you talk about this on your own. If you're wondering, you I would have gotten to this.
Yeah. No, I need to now because you're talking about how butchered the songs are, right? Okay. Pasek and Paul are responsible, like, I would say their two most popular individual works are, one of them is they wrote the lyrics for La La Land, and I believe won an Oscar for that. That's the thing that they did that isn't that bad, because when Ben Pasek and Justin Paul are working with competent composers or good composers like Justin Hurwitz or Mark Scheinman. They work with Scheinman on a song for Only Murders in the Building. I think it's pretty good. But when they are writing their own music, you get Dear Evan Hansen. I don't think I need to tell you how embarrassing Dear Evan Hansen is. If you don't know, I'm not going to go on a whole aside of it. I'll just call it the musical that everybody thought was about something gay, and it absolutely was not. It was instead about a fake. Was it faking that you were the friend of a kid that committed suicide? Because what the fuck? And in fact, the Broadway show is actually homophobic. So that's something. Now, here is work by two of the great voices of sort of, Broadway style and Broadway musicals, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman.
Tim Rice too.
They are just
you
two
gotta
of the greatest.
Tim Rice.
Oh, and Tim Rice. Yes, Tim Rice. I keep forgetting to include Tim Rice. I do not mean disrespect when I keep forgetting them. It's just that Menken and Ashman are so foregrounded in a lot of discussion that Rice kind of gets left behind, and I apologize for that. But yes, three major Broadway veterans designing with great musical precision, where not a single note is out of place. Not a single note is sung wrong, even by, just like, like every, yeah.
These notes were chosen
it's
more
big...
carefully than the disciples of Christ.
Oh, it's great. Like their work is great, right? You take these incredible musicians, and then you get Ben Pasek and Justin Paul to write a new song for this movie, this remake, right? Because we have to justify the fact that we're even remaking it to begin with. So they splurged on one additional song, right? The song is, one of the other notable things that Pasek and Paul did that really got them in the good graces of Hollywood executives that wanted to make a musical was the film The Greatest Showman, starring Hugh Jackman, where he plays, he does a full fucking polished job on the horrible reputation of one P.T. Barnum. A lot of their songs, when written on their own, they just kind of seem built for radio play. At some point, they're more pop music than musical music, which is a big issue here, right? Because so much of the legacy of the stuff that Aladdin is doing is, it's Broadway musicals, it's music that is directly tied into, the story and the characters, and how they feel. The classic thing of when they can't speak their feelings, they sing them. Wasn't it Ashman that said that?
I don't know if he said that, but it's a famous,
I don't know
musical expression.
It's a famous adage, yeah. So that's the kind of music that they write. They've been hired to do a new song. Now, the thing about it is that nothing that they do, like even putting aside how I actually feel about their actual work, their tastes as artists are just very different from the likes of Menken and Ashman and Rice. They're just different. I don't think it's good, but putting that aside, they're very different. And so, what do you do when you have one song that sticks out and is so fundamentally different from how all of the other songs in the musical sound? Do you think get a different songwriter? No. Why would we do that? No. What we're going to do, because these guys are particularly bankable on the back of the likes of La La Land and The Greatest Showman, is we're going to take all of those songs, the songs devised by Menken and Ashman and Rice, and we are going to morph them, alter them to sound like Pasek and Paul's work so that their work doesn't stick out as much. You tell me how the fuck that makes any sense. You tell me how that makes sense. That is dog shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Why? Why would you just not get different songwriters? Why would you not do that? You are Disney. You define the terms of the movie that you're making. You define the term. People are going to go see it anyways. You think they're going to give a fuck if Mr. fucking Dear Evan Hansen did one fucking girl boss song for Jasmine about how she won't be silenced just before putting her ass in a bubble dog? Shut the fuck up. It's embarrassing. It really is. It's really, really embarrassing. And you're starting off on a horrible note because you're starting off with one jump ahead, and you've layered this generic drum riff over it, and this ass bass line that is not propelling the music in any substantive way. It's just there. It's just inert. It sounds awful. What they have done to every single song in a movie filled with some of the most joyous music in any Disney release during its entire history is genuinely so embarrassing to listen to that it makes me squirm. It's bad. It's really bad. It's the worst I've seen done with songs other than, it's because, because they've done it. They've fucked with, I don't even have strong, like I said, I don't even have strong feelings about Baby of Mine from Dumbo, but whatever they did with that feels just fine compared to what they've done to this. Because the other thing that I mentioned when we were watching it is that these movies are deeply embarrassed by Broadway.
Yes.
They just are. They're really wildly embarrassed by Broadway. They're embarrassed by the big outsized feelings of Broadway. They're embarrassed by the big emotions that comes with. They're embarrassed by the notion of if you can't speak it, sing it. They just are. It's sad. And I don't like to say X person would be rolling around in their grave, because I don't want to invoke the dead when we're talking about the quality of something. But I do think that if Ashman were around, he would find it kind of incredibly superfluous and poorly integrated. I really do feel that way. I think Menken, because he's here, that's part of what gets me. Menken is right here. He scored this movie. He hasn't left. But I feel like part of it is just, this is the work that he can get a lot of the time. Like, people, like Disney hires him a lot, and he does it because he's been working through various iterations of Disney's existence. Because, people come in and out, they come and they go all the time, but he's still around because people are like, well, we kind of built our current house on what you did. Just like, I only wish you showed a little more of that respect to Ashman. Otherwise, you wouldn't be fucking making this movie. You know, there's one bit that really there's two bits that really embarrass me when I'm looking at One Jump Ahead. One of them is when the guards sing Riff Raff Street Rat. When they sing it in the remake, it's this ugly, weird, half barking, half rapping thing that they do while they're chasing him, and I'm like, that sounds fucking awful. That doesn't even sound like you're singing to the same song. I don't think you are. And then, what's that one bit? You said they didn't know what to do with that one bit. Still I think he's rather tasty. Could you elaborate on what you meant when you said they didn't know what to do with the gag?
Honestly, I have it here in my notes. I am genuinely really struggling to remember the beat other than that it was bad. It's repressed. You can just trust us that it's bad.
Yeah, you can trust us. It's sort of, it feels like they just didn't know how to do it because they felt like, oh, is that offensive? And it's just like, I feel like it's more offensive that you didn't commit to it. Because remember, committing to the bit is illegal and a felony in several corporate countries.
Yes. So One Step Ahead is dog shit.
Yeah.
And here's the interesting thing
butchered,
about it.
Just violently butchered.
Is that it now comes after Aladdin and Jasmine's first meeting. Okay, so we skip the stuff with Jasmine in the palace being sad. And the introduction to both of these characters is Aladdin meeting Jasmine incognito in the market. And, we shouldn't start the romance before we know either of the characters. I shouldn't have to fucking explain that. But I think the real reason why it's here is so that Arabian Nights doesn't go directly into One Step Ahead. You don't want two songs literally that close back to back, which wasn't a problem in the original because the scene in the desert with Jafar was its own scene. It wasn't shoved into Arabian Nights. You created your own problem, and then you made a
You created your own problem. Sums up most of these.
It's, oh my god, and then Jasmine has to tag along for the entire song because that's what the plot demands now. Talking about One Step Ahead being moved.
Yeah,
God, it's so dumb. And then they go back together to Aladdin's little hideout. He has a little contraption to get inside that I don't know how anyone would be able to set up. And this part of the movie might have been like the single beat that pissed me off the most. To get to his home in the original, we have to do like a little pole vault, right? And Aladdin gets to the other side in the original, and he's like, I can, put up I think he goes to put up a plank so that she can get across without having to pole vault. And then when he's grabbing it, then she's just already there. She already did it, because that tells us something about her character, about how she's independent and she can do things on her own. She doesn't need Aladdin's help. That isn't the kind of story that it is.
I don't know.
And in this version, they changed it so that he has to coax her to do it. He has to convince her no, it's okay. You'll be fine. Yeah. And it's I thought this was supposed to be the girl boss Jasmine. That's what the rest of the movie wants me to think. Why did you give her less agency? For no reason. It's one of a million things in this movie that's a small change that seemingly changed just for the sake of a change. Want
to know a real girl boss? That comes later. That's Cruella.
She's not a girl boss. You wouldn't know a girl boss if it hit her in the head. Aladdin and Jasmine have this conversation, and because this is a weird fucking trend in all these live action remakes, they have to give Aladdin mommy and daddy issues about growing up alone, which I know there was stuff in there in the original Ashman outline, but like it wasn't in the movie because there wasn't space for it in the movie. You know, it's not like it comes up again in this movie. So why the hell is it mentioned?
'Cause he makes some monkey
Um,
noises.
and Jasmine thinks that he stole from her, but it was actually Abu. And the interesting thing about Abu in this movie, well, two interesting things. One, they got Frank Welker back to voice him, and two, he's very, very ugly. He is horrifying, and I hate him, and I want to throw rocks at him. So that's the interesting.
You know
thing
what
about
gets
it.
me? You know what gets me?
What?
I will talk about this. You have often shared many videos of various animals that are cute. Among those are monkeys. There are many cute monkeys in this world. It feels like they went out of their way to find the ugliest monkey to model their Abu after.
I don't even know if it's a
I don't know
modeling
what it
problem
is.
or if it's just like a fidelity problem. You're right. I love monkeys. Monkeys are some of my favorite animals. Not so much the like
Yes.
tiny
Yeah.
species that Abu is, and more like big apes and orangutans. But I still like those little guys. But
No, yeah.
he's fucking ugly. It's distractingly ugly is the thing. You know?
I think there is such a thing. What was it like? Apparently, like like I don't know if you told me this or if I read it somewhere else. You probably told me. When because there's the One Piece show, and they've added Tony Chopper. Tony Chopper is like an anthropomorphic reindeer for those not in the know, and I think they kept trying to make him look a little more realistic, and then Aiichiro Ora, who created One Piece, he was just like, nope, pull it back, just a little more stylized, find the sweet spot,
Yeah.
because otherwise he will look unsettling.
I have the story
You know?
going around is Oda is decently involved in the live action more than most One Piece projects
Yes.
because thinks this is his opportunity to bring it to the world, and their first design
Yes.
may have been kind of an ugly Sonic situation if anyone remembers the original trailer for the Sonic movie, and then they sent
He
it to
looked
Oda
very
to
ugly.
approve, and he's like, nope, no, it needs to be cuter, more mascot like, and then they sent him another one, and he gave the same note, and he just kept giving that note over and over until they got to the final version, which I think looks pretty good. I think it finds a nice balance, considering that like Chopper is supposed to kind of be a bit like monstrous in the story, but it gets to that kind of cute. It's ugly cute, That's a term people use now.
Yeah, there's a
but on purpose.
Yeah, like like that's the thing, like it's something that people have talked about how like you'll see a cute baby, but then you'll think, well, babies are just kind of ugly always. they're new human beings. They were just formed.
It takes babies like a couple months to not be ugly.
yeah. So it's like that's a thing. That's the thing that happens in reality. You ever seen a baby animal? They're ugly, but they're cute in many cases. So like trying to strike that balance. I'm not gonna act like it's an easy thing, but you can't just throw fidelity at a problem and think that will resolve things somehow. No, I don't want to see the hyper realistic ugly Abu. I want to say who asked for this, but it made $1 billion because kill me.
Anyways, Abu steals her fucking bracelet, and Jasmine blames Aladdin because he's actually a liar. Because when I watched the original Aladdin, I said, this movie's good, but I wish it had a misunderstanding plot because everyone in the world loves misunderstanding plots. They're not frustrating at all. And technically, in between that scene, there is a scene with Jafar. He's in his little thingy. He's looking for the diamond in the rough. In the original, he steals like a special gem from the Sultan, and he uses that to project an image of the diamond in the rough. But for some reason, in this movie, he doesn't do that, and he's just going through random guys. he's just getting like random like prisoners and shit and saying, "Are you the diamond in the rough?" And it's like, I don't think so. And then he throws them down a pit, and it's like, what? So how does he know Aladdin is the guy when he gets him? Why did they change that? Because they're stupid. That's why.
It's so confusing. They're confusing.
Here's another thing in that scene. Iago is just a normal ass parrot.
He is voiced by Alan Tudyk, who has a lot of personality. What if we just didn't let him project any of that? Alan Tudyk, he's such a fun performer. Why would you not let? Why would he just be a normal
Honestly, I like Alan Tudyk a lot. If I was making this, I would have just asked Gilbert Gottfried to come back. He still had the same voice he'd had in the 90s.
He expressly said that they never even asked him.
Never even asked him. Jesus.
Yep, never asked once.
They're stupid.
They are. They really are. What next?
Okay, let's go back to my goddamn notes. They butcher another fucking song.
Likely thing to happen.
Where he's singing in his I don't know what the song is called, but he's like, they like saw the true me, would they see a poor boy? No siree.
The song, I think, is just sort of a reprise of One Jump Ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, since we didn't get to learn anything about Jasmine before, now we get to learn about Jasmine, and we learned that she's actually a girl boss. She's a girl boss. She gatekeeps. She gaslights. She's a female CEO. Well, she's aspiring to be a female CEO. So she talks to her daddy, the Sultan, who is no longer fun. He is not fun. He does not have fun. He does not have whimsy. He isn't a silly little kooky guy. Because we aren't allowed to have those. She's like, I want to be Sultan. I don't want to marry a guy and have him be. I want to be the girl boss CEO. And he's like, no, it is written, only Prince can marry Jasmine. Oh my god, it's draining me now, Roxy. I just want to reiterate, this movie is
draining your spirit.
Ugly. I want to say that multiple times because it is 24/7 in the movie, and we can't just say it once because it isn't in every single frame of the movie. What do you think of live action Jasmine? This is also when she gets the first bit of her Pay Second Paul song.
I want to preface this by saying that I don't actually think that Naomi Scott is like a bad performer from what I've seen. Like I just kind of want to start there, but I've sort of seen when I was doing some reading on the production of this one, I realized I was thinking, I vaguely remember controversy, right? Now there's a few things, there is in fact a small controversy section on the Aladdin Wikipedia page, because you start with Wikipedia. For one, and I don't think we saw this. I don't think we noticed it. This movie has brownface.
Oh,
now the way it went was I don't know whether I believe it because Disney's liars, but also I don't know. It's not. It was reported that brown makeup was being applied to white extras during filming in order to blend in, which caused an outcry and condemnation among fans and critics, branding the practice as an insult to the whole industry, while accusing the producers of not recruiting people with Middle Eastern or North African heritage. Disney responded to the controversy, saying, "Diversity of our cast and background performers was a requirement, and only in a handful of instances was it a matter of specialty skills, safety, and controls, such as special effects rigs, stunt performers, and handling of animals were crew made up to blend." In addition to this, Disney faced backlash for casting Naomi Scott, a non-Arab actress, in the role of Princess Jasmine. Some critics argued that this decision reflected a lack of authentic representation and suggested that Disney viewed women of Middle Eastern and Indian heritage as interchangeable, which I wouldn't say is wrong.
One live Netflix One Piece got in the same controversy.
I didn't even know. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
You didn't
the
tell me.
actress who plays Vivi in season 2, who is very Middle Eastern coded, like you go to their kingdom, it's obviously based on Egypt, is Indian, and people said it should have been
Yeah,
Egyptian or somewhere else in the Middle East.
yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. Well, we've brought up live action One Piece twice today.
I have to remind myself of
Um,
something good.
a good live action remake. They can exist.
Yes.
Naomi Scott's presence is I'll be real. When I see her in things, I think like like she is brown, no like enough to like see it. It's that kind of thing where if you put like lightning like makeup on her, she would very easily pass for white because her father is, I believe, British, like a British white man. And I don't know, it just so like that's something that's honestly, admittedly, a little distracting in the context of the world that they're trying to push on me, which, to be clear, is not integrate in any capacity. She's bleh. That's my feeling on Jasmine in this movie. I think in the effort to make her come off more resilient, they've made it worse. They've fixed a problem that textually wasn't actually there. Like they've done it again. They've done the thing where they tried to fix a problem that wasn't there. They made a problem that they attempted to fix and then did it poorly. Jasmine as a character, like the thing that you think of, though she is, sexualized and orientalized in ways that are unpleasant and uncomfortable in the original work, her characterization on paper is still very strong. She is a resilient character who wants for a lot, has a lot of strong boundaries, doesn't take kindly to them being crossed, loves her father but doesn't really respect him, which is a relatable feeling.
Mm-hmm.
She is a vivid characterization. She's not like really in-depth characterization, but her archetype is strong, and it is anchored in very decisive action. None of this was an issue. I don't think people looked at Jasmine and said that she didn't have enough agency. It feels like they looked at the controversies surrounding sort of how people were perceiving like Ariel and Belle, and then they assumed that they applied to Jasmine, even though no one ever said that they did.
No.
This is the most tried to fix a problem that didn't exist I've ever seen of these. This wasn't an issue. There wasn't a problem. Nothing happened. But you decided and insisted that she needed to be like edited as a character this way. And as a result, especially because we run into it twice already. We're happy with it. It's the special again, remember, way back in our Cinderella episode when we talked about how when you start going into the actual like geopolitics of inter-kingdom politics of like monarchy, like inter-monarchy stuff, when you start doing that, you suddenly break the illusion. The magic circle has been broken and now you are drawing a lot of attention. It's like that thing in Inception where when you do something that is out of turn, everyone in the dream will look at you like you did something wrong because you did. You disrupted the illusion. That's what this is every time they acknowledge sort of monarchies, and in this case, sultans and the like. This is what happens when you acknowledge it and you kind of want to engage with it, but also you're still a Disney family film, so you break that over your fucking knee. And now we have to deal with girl boss Jasmine and how she wants to be, sultan. It's just like, you know what? Jasmine, I thought you wanted to be free. Isn't this running against that?
Yeah, because they didn't understand that there's a theme that ties the original movie together.
So, that is strike one towards sort of fucking up the triad of characters that make up the overall development of their characters and how they're tied to the narrative. We've already fucked that up really badly. Like, you can't really recover from that, from changing her motivation to be something so completely different from what it was to begin with. We fucked up there.
Yes. Also, her new song is ass.
Her new song is ass. It's really bad. What, you changed some of the best fucking songs in a Disney musical to sound like this? To sound like this? It has no personality. It feels built for radio play, but I don't even think that ever even happened.
I doubt it.
It was shortlisted for the Oscars somehow, but that didn't happen either.
It's, you know, they have this scene where they like go back to Jasmine and her fucking servants talking about Aladdin, and it feels like all this like new Jasmine content is trying to fix a problem from the original, which wasn't a problem. Where I guess they thought
Once again,
Aladdin and Jasmine didn't have enough time together. That the romance was too rough. You know, it's that Disney thing. Oh, you're marrying a guy you just met, but it's like you know, I went over. That's why we have a whole new world, and that song is miraculous, and it does all the heavy lifting you need. And you know, now we have to have this. Oh, I'm waiting for him to come back, and you know, another fucking thing. Um, Jasmine, I thought you were an independent girl boss now who can do anything by herself. Why do you have a servant? Why do you need a servant if you're so independent now? If you can do anything now, why do you need a servant? Why do you need a personal servant just for you? Hmm? Is it because you're a fucking princess and you don't do jack shit by yourself? And the fucking servant character is annoying, and they're a new addition, and they're not funny because nothing in this movie is funny.
this is something that I think it more bothered me than you, because I don't think you really have watched much Saturday Night Live, right? I don't actually know.
I watch it regularly now, but not when I was younger.
Right, because I mentioned at the time Nassim Pedrad, who plays her servant lady, was on SNL around that time. And this is highly distracting to me because the movie already looks like a goddamn SNL skit anyways.
Yeah, and I remember the fun bit in with Aladdin in the dungeon and the Great Tone Setter and Old Man Jafar, which was like a really fun, just a fun bit, you know, just to have in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yes.
Well, we're not gonna put him in the dungeon. We're just gonna have Jafar's guys kidnap him, and now he's certain that he's the diamond in the rough because reasons. And we're already at the Cave of Wonders. The movie is barely fucking started, and we're already at the Cave of Wonders. And oh my god, this is something you talked about, where Jafar has this conversation with Aladdin about Jasmine, where like this is him, you know, telling him that he's not good enough for the princess. You're just a street rat, you idiot. It's so much worse to not have Aladdin come to the conclusion on his own that he isn't good enough for Jasmine, because
Yes.
it's part of his character and it serves his arc. It's
Yes.
part of his arc. That's why he is so deceiving. It's because he's embarrassed of himself. He's embarrassed of being a fucking street rat. And, you know, he comes at the end and says, I want to be who I am. And
that's part of what, like looping back all the way back to the actual One Jump Ahead sequence. He's got all this like bravado, the Harrison Fordisms, you know, the swashbucklerisms, right? And then when they do the reprise of One Jump Ahead, when he's sort of bemoaning sort of, you know, who he is and how people see him, that creates an association where now the song is about just as much about the things that he hides about himself, about the feelings that he has about himself that he doesn't, you know, show anyone, because why would I show them to people anyways? I'm just a street rat. So that's all in him already. That's in him, and when he meets Jasmine, that's how he feels already. He feels like he can't, you know, like, oh, of course, why would she ever be interested in me? Having Jafar do it is just so, I don't have any word but bad.
Speaking of Jafar, really bad performance from the guy playing Jafar. He does not get the tone at
Um,
all.
yeah, Marwan Kanzari plays him in this movie. It's just like I can't speak. I don't think I've actually seen him in anything that wasn't garbage because he was also in Black Adam, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
No, he's in good
Um,
movies like Black Adam, The Mummy with Tom Cruise, Ghosted with Chris
oof,
Evans and Ana de
oof,
Armas, Ben-Hur, the remake.
oof.
Just amazing movies.
There's gotta be something here. There's gotta be something. Anyways, um, I'm not like I don't mean for disrespect just on the basis of me not having seen him in anything good because I'm sure he's in something good. Um, but he's really bad in this. There's no anything. It's like he was directed not to act, like not to do anything, like making any decision might like these movies are often the definition of what it is to walk on eggshells because you're afraid that someone might take issue with a decision that you make. And Jafar is pretty we talk about queer coding villains and again, Andreas Deha is gay and that colors how he approaches building characterizations for the characters that he animated, like that he was supervising animator for, which is a lot of villains. He was very good at anime, because like look at what a good villain for a piece like this is, and it's a lot of camp, it's a lot of vamping it, it's a lot of chewing on it, and you know after once a legacy sort of congealed and of once a legacy sort of congealed about queer coded villains, suddenly Disney was like, whoa, we can't do that, right? And it's just like, look, I understand. Maybe if you were more willing to have an actual substantial queer character, then maybe people might be a little more forgiving about the fact that your villains are maybe a little fruity sometimes. But no, you can't do that because then you don't want to not be able to appeal to the fucking Nazis and the bigots. So now we end up in this position where Jafar has no affectation, no facial expression. He is just a fucking mannequin of a performance. He is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Worst performance in the movie. And I'm saying this like without necessarily pointing blame. Because I don't intend to point blame. Right? It's really not my
Ronald Reagan.
We should always blame Ronald Reagan. Enemy of not just queer people, but enemy of live action Remorse.
Yes.
Which by extension is a enemy of queer people.
Yes. Anyways, fucking sends Laddie into the Cave of Wonders.
He ain't Laddie.
And he's just Din. He sends Din into the
He's just Din.
The Cave of Wonders. And he has to tell Abu, oh, don't take any treasure. And then for some fucking reason, Abu has to tell him, don't take any treasure. Which, one, that makes no fucking sense of his characterization. No. Second of all, he told Abu the same thing 1 minute ago. Did he forget in 30 seconds? What is the point of this fucking beat? And the Cave of Wonders, totally butchered.
That ain't a Cave of Wonders. That's a ditch of mildly interesting objects.
They're the original. It's like mountains of gold. It's Scrooge McDuck shit, right?
This is like
scattered piles of coins here.
Yes, it's really bad. It's more cave than wonders. That's how you know you fucked up.
It is way more cave. The original, it was 2 sections. It was like the main treasure room, and then a room just for the lamp. And here they're the same room. It's the lamp in the middle and all the stuff around
Which is
it, which is worse.
The way that sucks out so much of the mystique of the lamp.
Yes.
Because then it's like you see it's like a fucking country of riches, right?
Mm-hmm.
These insane riches beyond, like, unfathomable to any one man, any two men, 10,
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the lamp, and it's just like, somehow, despite infinite riches, this is the most important, most valuable thing in the entire Cave of Wonders. This, more than anything,
Mm-hmm.
is the power of a god.
In the remake, it's just
That
another thing
is-
in the room.
That is intrigue. That's how you build intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you think, oh my god, what could be more valuable than all of these riches? This, right here. One single lamp. That's fantastic.
You even have
gonna
Aladdin
tell me-
say when he gets to the top, all this for a lamp?
All this for a lamp. It's like, yes, all this for a lamp. Infinite cosmic fucking power.
God.
So, like, you're really, like, why would you do that? And it's just like, probably to expedite things, because for one, you're speed running the plot beats of the original, like, every fucking time you make the worst of these, right? But then, also just the fact that, it takes... I'll say this. I want to preface this by saying animation costs money, and it should. Animators should be paid. We know this. We've said this on the podcast more than once already.
Mm-hmm.
They should be paid. They deserve to be paid. We just talked about Dumbo. We are pro-union on this podcast. But I also want to say that, I do think that rendering this space, right? Because you said it was two spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Rendering this space and rendering that space are not that much more expensive from each other, I don't think. The gulf between shooting a normal scene in this movie and shooting a big, like, if they were to try and render the Cave of Wonders as it actually is in the animated movie, if they were to try and do that here, it would be more expensive, I think. It would be more expensive to render all of that. It would take more time to render that in the render farms. It would, yeah. So, basically what I'm saying is that, once again, they've been kind of hamstrung by the demand for, like, infinite fidelity. Once again. And it's like, oh my god, please, you don't need to do this. You can stylize things a little bit. Like, I think about, and, this is another example, like, it's Everything Everywhere All at Once. Once again, it's an example of people should have been paid. I don't even think the Daniels made that much money off of it from the outset, because that movie was way too cheap, and everyone that I know who knows about that production says it's way too cheap. But, they did expressly speak on sort of the influence of, like, Kung Fu Hustle and that movie's use of sort of stylization to, like sort of like making like a lot of like really cartoonish gags and the like, because the effects of something like Everything Ever All at Once are not at all trying to be realistic. They don't have to spend infinite time and money rendering these things. So, I don't know why they devised the Cave of Wonders like this, but it feels lazy. I'm not going to be like, oh, lazy filmmakers, because that sucks. And people still put a lot of work in. Like, that sucks when you can put so much work into something like this and it's still ass. I know a lot of people worked on this movie. And I know a lot of people put a lot of backbreaking work into this movie. And it doesn't change the fact that everything here is misconceived, and you can kind of see that in the Cave of Wonders, the way they've devised it.
Remember what you said about the budget differences between the original and the remake? Put a pin in it. I will return to it in a couple minutes.
Yes, okay, good.
So anyways, he gets the fucking lamp, but Abu fucks it up, and the whole place goes down in flames, and it's so much less exciting than the amazing action sequence that's there. in the original that
It's
was like
fucking
so amazing.
incredible
Both the fucking
pursuit.
Virgin Games and Capcom were like, oh, has to be the highlight of our game. You know, they had the same fucking idea for that stage, even though there was no communication. And it's lifeless because this whole fucking movie is lifeless. And he gets trapped in the cave with the fucking lamp, and Will Willard Smith. Willard Smith
Willard Smith, we're
has
finally at the moment we've been not waiting for. You go.
Okay.
You let her rip.
So it would be hard for anyone to go into this role. I am completely sympathetic to that. It doesn't matter if you're Willard Smith. It doesn't matter if you're one of the greatest actors in the world. That Robin Williams genie role is so it's impossible to replicate. You're gonna have to kind of do it your own way, right?
Yeah.
With that being said, this way is bad. It is bad. You did a bad job, Will. Because, okay.
And he outright said that, you know, like he said that himself, that he didn't feel like he could do it. Like, he said that he was terrified.
Well, he should have listened to that voice, okay? He should have listened to his gut there. He shouldn't have... I guess they fucking gave him a dump truck of gold bars, because it's Disney, right? But...
They gave him the real Cave of Wonders.
They gave him... That's why the Cave of Wonders doesn't look any good. Willard took it all.
They gave him the money!
And, first of all, he's ugly. Ugly. It looks terrible. Oh my god. He looks so uncanny. I mentioned Ugly Sonic before. This is some real Ugly Sonic territory, right? And, he just...
Blue again. Why are you blue?
So, I know I said you can't replicate Robin Williams, but there are two fundamental things that you need if you are to step into those shoes. Even if you don't do like a Robin Williams, impression, even if you're not recreating that specific version, there are two things that are integral to the character that the original performance works because Williams has them in spades. That is energy and the simpler one of being able to do a shit ton of voices.
Yeah.
Will Smith is asleep in this movie. He has no fucking energy at all. Even when he's singing.
Which is crazy. It's crazy because, like, here's the thing. I can even see potentially where they were coming from when they said Will Smith. Is just like, yeah, if you called in, like, 90s Will Smith to do this, maybe, honestly, I would be more amenable to, like, all of this,
Mm-hmm.
Like, 90s Will Smith had a shit ton of energy,
Yeah.
Like, he, like, Fresh Prince is just basically fireworks every time out, even if the writing isn't stronger,
Mm-hmm.
He's so big on that show, so the fact that none of that is here, on top of being just fundamentally misconceived, is like a disappointment, because honestly, I would have been able to forgive a lot with regards to the movie if Genie had the spark. I do think that, and he doesn't. It's not there. I don't think Will Smith is a bad performer, personally. I don't know how you feel. I think he ranges from all right to pretty strong, but the point stands that it really feels like he's just not quite there. He feels like a half measure every time. Like, every time he does a gag, anytime he says anything, I find it sad, and it feels sad because we are dealing with a character that was played by one of the most, vivacious, over the top, grand performers, and then he's just sort of like some half measured bits that just hurts.
And the bits.
Yeah, the bits.
So the second aspect of the genie that the actor needs is voices. You need to be able to do a lot of voices. In this movie,
Yeah.
Genie does not do any impressions. He does not do any voices for anyone other than, Will Smith voice. And like one part where he does Aladdin, but they just get the Aladdin actor to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is this guy? This ain't the Genie. This is some blue man.
This ain't the genie.
And he ain't even in the
Some
group.
blue man group. He ain't even in the group.
He's a rejected blue man.
He
Huh?
could have used a little bit of that.
Oh
Have
my
we made this joke
god.
before?
And the characterization is so fucking bad. He seems like it's not just that Will Smith has no energy, even though that is a big part. It just seems like the genie himself just doesn't care, about anything. You talked in the original how much like a showman he was. Like he kinda has that here, but like he's just like him and Aladdin in the original are friends. And here they're work friends, you know?
Absolutely. That is such a perfect way to put it. Oh my god. Like, I'm gonna do mind me dipping forward to the drowning bit, like the underwater sequence.
Yeah, sure.
In the original movie, there's a point where Jafar straps Aladdin to a chair and kicks him out into the water so that he fucking dies. Like he kills. He went down with the lamp, and Aladdin accidentally rubs up against the lamp while he's underwater, and Genie sees this. He comes out, like he's taking a bath because it's funny. They get rid of this in the remake because why? I don't know. And Genie sees him. He's like, oh my god, and he wants very much to help him, but he's like, I can't help you unless I can't help you unless you make a wish. But he's unconscious, so he kind of goes like he fudges the rules in to some capacity to get him out of the bind that he's in. He effectively wishes for Aladdin in his stead so that it uses up a wish, but he's not exactly playing by the rules of the wishing schema,
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, in the remake, he kind of just grabs his hand and makes him sign a contract. And I just find that so much less emotionally and dramatically compelling, just because, if it effectively indicates that the genie was willing to cheat in order to save his friend, in order to save someone that he cared about deeply, that he wanted, like he's like he can't. It is the closest thing to an exhibition of like absolute freedom that he can under these parameters, and also an indication of what kind of life that he will live as a free being, right? That he will lead with kindness. And I think that's really strong characterization. And when you get rid of that, when you just make it much more about him actually playing by the rules of the wishing schema, I'm just so much less interested in that, because suddenly it's not about love, it's about rules. And I'm not as interested in that. So, when you say they're work friends, you mean it.
Anyways, jumping back to Genie's introduction. Okay, we'll keep talking about the Genie as a general character. This is what I was alluding to with the budget thing. And it's a theory that I'm very confident in about the Genie's jokes in this and behavior and shtick, and how in the remake he basically never ever transforms shape. In the original, the Genie is like one of the great animated characters, just in the sense of how fluidly and rapidly will change into all these different forms. Oh, we get a Tux, and it'll be Rodney Dangerfield and Jack Nicholson and a million other references and shit. And here,
Listen, Sparky, here's the deal.
here they basically do none of that. And one, I understand maybe in some cases it would feel uncanny in live action for Will Smith to do some of them. But I think the real reason is deeper than that. And the difference is between 3D animation and 2D animation. Now, say you want the original Robin Williams genie to turn into, a giant parallax. Or no, we'll use the bathtub thing you were talking about, where he comes out under the water and he's in the bathtub. Okay, so you just draw a genie in the bathtub. It's not any harder than drawing genie normally. Well, you have to work out the pose and all that. Maybe it's mildly harder, but that's just on a personal, artistic, creative level. And
yes.
And then you get the remake, and okay, you want to recreate this gag, and so what you have to do is, well, you have the genie model, and you have to model the bathtub, and you have to model the curtains, and you have to model his rubber ducky and his shower cap, and you have to put water on all this, and that goes for everything, That goes for all of it. Every time you want to do a new form of the genie, you have to make a brand new model. But if you just want to do the genie normally, well, you just keep reusing that same old model. And, there's nothing wrong with that. But, in the original, that gives them so much more freedom to make all these different forms of the genie, because it's not, meaningfully more difficult to draw than the normal genie.
Mm-hmm.
That just makes the character so much less exciting. That just removes such a big part of why he's great,
Yes. It's like, because there are people who say animation is there's no limits. It's just that's not true. That's just not true. But the parameters are different. They're just very different. What is permissible and possible, the parameters have changed. The shape of the playing field has changed, right? Some things are easier to do, some things are harder to do, same as when you're shooting things in live action. It's just what is different, what is more difficult is different. So, there's a lot of ways in which 3D animation is more cumbersome. And this is the bed that they made. Thank you, Disney.
So, those are the main problems with the genie overall. And we haven't even gotten to how he starts. A friend like me. One of my favorite bits of the original, Roxy.
You okay?
No. Anyways, first of all, obviously hurt a lot by the fact that he can't fucking do voices. And, that terrible thing that's not rapping, it's not singing, that Will Smith does in this just makes it bad. One small thing that pissed me off a lot was they got rid of the sexy dancing girls.
They did get rid of sexy dancing girls, yes.
It's gonna make me sound like an anti-woke activist to complain about it. It just feels like we're so terrified of having any glimpse of any sexuality
sensual
in a quote kids movie. It's like it doesn't fucking matter, man.
I do think it is a thing. It's a thing that's been said, and it's just the idea of political correctness does exist, but it doesn't exist the way assholes want you to think it does. It means becoming the most anodyne possible version of yourself so that, you can appeal to all. And that's just untenable.
Yes. We need to soften every single edge.
You know, we've baby-proofed the world. That's what it is. That's what, you know, and like but yeah, I just I don't know. I don't know.
Song shit.
There's
Song is shit. It's so much worse. It's insane.
the song is, yeah, they made it worse.
I mean, obviously,
They made a
you
perfect
knew
song
they
worse.
made it worse, but it's so much worse. It is. And so
You're supposed to sing it. You're not singing it. I want to note real quick before we move on that there is a reference to one of the greatest dance numbers I've ever seen. Just ever. It is a reference to the Nicholas brothers during the finale of Stormy Weather. It is one of the most virtuosic displays of dancing in a movie that I've ever seen. It's probably one of the greatest things I've seen in a movie. It's incredible. The Nicholas brothers were two of the greatest dancers that just I've ever seen in movies. They started in vaudeville, and at one, in Stormy Weather, there is a bit near the end of their number where they're on top of like a big staircase that goes both ways, and one of the Nicholas brothers jumps and does like a split at the on one of the staircase steps, and then the other will jump over him and do another split, and they just do that a few times before hitting the bottom. It looks like it should be painful, but instead it's one of the most smooth possible things that they could do. It's a tremendous thing. It's a feat. It's a feat to witness. Incredible stuff. Now, years later, afterward, Gregory Hines, the actor Gregory Hines, who played one of the Nicholas brothers in Francis Ford Coppola's The Cotton Club, said that if you were to make a biopic about the Nicholas brothers, you would need to create their dance numbers digitally due to the amount of strain and intensity of the kind and precision of the type of work they were doing. I don't entirely know if this is true. That being said, I do find it funny in the context of this version of Friend Like Me, which does have a reference to that bit near the end of the Nicholas brothers dance sequence, because they have a bit where Aladdin does a split jump and then Genie does it over him, and then they do that a few times, and they are completely digital in that moment. So in a sense, Gregory Hines was correct. They're completely digital. They can't do the split jumps. They physically cannot do it. And while I wouldn't necessarily ask like Will Smith and Mina Masood to do that because they can't do it, I think it's a testament to what we consider spectacle now, that we would rather develop projects where you put your leads in a position where you have to digi-double Nicholas brothers, the two leads in your musical, than just create movies for performers that can already do things like that. I think it's really silly.
We need Willard Smith.
Did we even know who else they considered?
I don't know.
Or was it always him?
No idea. I don't want to look at this movie anymore to look it up.
All right, you go on now.
Anyways, they get out of the cave, and they actually change the way they get out of the cave here. So in the original, Aladdin is this kind of like all-powerful genie, but he has these rules, you can't do this, this, and this. This guy sucks. And he's like, what the hell's wrong with you, Aladdin? I'm the best. And he's like, Abu, I bet he couldn't even get us out of this cave. And he's like, smart guy, I'm gonna get you out of the cave right now. And that's kind of how he tricks him out of a wish, right? And
Yes, it's great.
For some reason, they change it in this, which is what is that, the fourth time I've said that. Um,
Yes.
so the new rule is that you have to be rubbing the lamp when you make the wish, and so
Okay, yeah.
Aladdin looks like he's rubbing the lamp, but it's actually Abu rubbing the lamp when he says, "I wish you would get us out of this cave." And it's like, I mean, like, I guess that works,
I
but like,
guess.
why even bother? Why bother changing it? Like, I guess it. Like, I was gonna say, oh, does it fit with here? Changes his arc, but like, it still is him deceiving the genie. So I guess it still like works the same for the arc, but like,
But it's so much less precise. It's so much more imprecise. Like, it doesn't, like, it is a vested conscious, not lie, but misdirection that he performs on the genie in the original. And here it's just sort of, it reads like a half measure. I hate it.
it's
I
just
really
a
hate
fun
it.
moment between him and the genie at first, where they're kind of
That's another
messing
thing.
with
It's
each
a
other.
it's a
Develops their relationship.
it's a character. Yeah, it's a relationship developing moment, and I'm fond of it on that basis because it's like, hey, they get to have a scene and they get to, you get that great bit. You're getting your wish now. Sit down. And that shows that sort of shows how kind of impetuous that Genie can be as a person, and you get to see more of his personality. Everything about that interaction stems from just sort of a character building. It's a great bit, and they changed it really for no reason. Like, when you actually look at all of this, it's for no reason.
Yeah.
It's bad.
and that kind of brings us to back to Aladdin and Genie's relationship, kind of as work friends, where they're talking, they're planning out in the desert like they did in the original, and it just kind of feels like the genie is more frustrated with him than anything at every single turn. He just wants to go home. And
why would you want to go back in the lamp though?
Yeah, for some reason he does this bit about like, oh, when you say make me a prince, you have to be more specific than that, because I could, make you a prince, and he like summons a prince, and it's like, okay, first of all, his characterization in the original is that like he wouldn't do that just because he's a nice guy, he's not gonna willingly misinterpret.
He's a nice guy.
Also, to jump ahead,
he's not that kind of genie.
Why doesn't he do that when Jafar wishes to be sultan? Why was that not a setup to be called back to? Maybe it was, and that's why it's in the movie, and like cut it. That's the only like explanation I have, because otherwise I don't know why this whole exchange is in the movie. And yeah, he wishes to become a prince, which again ties back to my fucking cinema sins from the ending originally. And then we do Prince Ali. Prince Ali is probably the most butchered song, I would say.
There's some stuff. For one, okay, I'll admit that Ababwa is kind of just nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
I'll freely admit that. I'm not gonna act like that's not true, because it's not really anything, like it's not like a name of any kind in like any language from like what we call the Middle East, or any Persian or Iranian language. It's not really a thing. Keeping that in mind, somehow it makes it feel worse, and maybe anyone who disagrees can tell me. It makes it feel worse when you directly acknowledge the fact that it's gibberish, such as the bit when the genie's like, he's from Ababwa, he like mumbles it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? He's like, Ababwa, and I'm like, shut up, but yeah, it's to acknowledge it so directly in a way that doesn't actually meaningfully change it makes it feel worse because it's just lip service. You haven't changed anything.
uh,
And then at
Prince
one point in the
Ali
no, you go.
is, yeah, it's what I've already talked about. It's the most hurt by the fact that the genie doesn't do voices and the genie doesn't transform into anything, because that is like the whole original song, and now it's just fucking Will Smith on a float, you know?
It's Will Smith on a
He does
float, and at one
he
point
just
he dresses up like a
cross-dress
woman,
at
and
my
he's so
phone.
clearly uncomfortable.
Yes.
Robin Williams would never be so uncomfortable. He would do that, and he would do it without hesitation.
Can we talk about the
He did do it, but that's
white prince, that vaguely Swedish prince?
Before we move on to that, I just want to note one thing. Do you remember that one really awful gag in the Beauty and the Beast remake when Josh Gad is illiterate and he's holding the note so long that it deflates the energy of the entire number, of the Gaston number?
I remember it well. What of it?
They just do that again here, where Will Smith is like, pointing at the Sultan while he's doing the number, and they hold the note forever. He's like, "Come on, we're waiting for you," and I'm like, "You did it again. You did it again." At this point, you were just transparently padding.
Yeah.
You were stalling for time.
For what reason? It's 2 hours long.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fucking kill me.
Anyways, white boy.
Yeah, white boy.
White boy. White boy. He's in 2 scenes. He's in 2 scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to give him his own spin-off.
But why?
Because he was such a memorable character. Remember all the funny lines he said? Like, hi, and Sultan, and even Princess Jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't... Can you just kill me? Please. Please put me out of my misery, please. I can't talk about this movie anymore. I don't want to be alive.
Do you want to any percent speed run this shit?
No, I'll go through... what else I have here? So the Prince Ali meets the Sultan, and because the Sultan is no longer any joy and whimsy, he isn't immediately charmed like he should be, like he is in the original. Until the next scene, where he suddenly is charmed for no reason. Just completely switches off screen. Fucking... This movie...
Oh, also, there's an extended bit about jams that isn't funny.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I think they thought it would loop around to being funny after being unfunny, but no. This movie feels very unconfident in itself, you know? It doesn't feel confident. It doesn't want to commit to anything. We said that.
One of those, baby.
It hates Broadway.
It's only getting worse.
It hates Broadway, as you said. I did note, if it hates Broadway so much, and you want it to be, Indian, Middle Eastern kind of thing, why not make it in a Bollywood kind of style? But no, that would require committing to something. Say what you will about Bollywood films, and most of them are very sincere.
Yes, they're very committed at the very least. And like Bollywood, Tollywood, Telugu stuff. We brought up Natu Natu from RRR when we watched this.
We did.
And it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I know about the political aspect of RRR and how some have considered it maybe a little troubling. I think on a tonal level, that movie's commitments are somewhat admirable, at least, and also just tremendously fun when you're watching it. Because Natu Natu is just pure fucking cinema. That's joyous. It's so joyous. It got people. They performed it at the Oscars. I think didn't it win
It won.
original song?
It broke through when it won. That's how good it was. That even
It's crazy.
the fucking Academy
That's how good
was
it
like,
was.
we'll give it to an Indian film.
Well, it was a Telugu film, but yeah, they don't do that here. They don't do that at all.
No, of course not. Of course not.
They because we're too racist and we're too allergic to committing to the bit.
Have I mentioned that Aladdin sucks? The character, also the movie. I've definitely mentioned the movie sucks, but the character sucks. His wooing, his seduction of Jasmine just feels like a game to him in this. You know, like a game to be played and won. Even though, like in the original, he's sincere. He really fucking I know he loves her in this, but it just feels like he's like, I don't know how to phrase it other than he's playing a game. You know?
Yeah.
He's picking his dialogue options for best ending in this dating simulator.
Oh, oof, that's really, damn, that's harsh. It's real, but it's harsh.
And there's this extended scene where they argue over the existence of Ababwa, and it's again, this doesn't come up again later. It's just another fucking thing, you know. It's nonstop shit.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the great bits of the original, when Jasmine jumps off the balcony, we get rid of that. Or not Jasmine, when Aladdin jumps off the balcony. Or no. Yeah, they get rid of Jasmine telling him to jump off the balcony. I had to check my notes for what exactly I was complaining about. They get rid of her saying, you should just jump off the balcony, because that is a fierce character defining moment for her and her relationship to all these suitors.
That's intense.
But I don't know, I guess it's not girl boss enough. Seemed pretty girl boss to me.
Very.
But you know, it could make her mildly unlikable, and we need to soften all the edges. So fuck that. And then we get Whole New World, and it's the vocal performances are fine, they're okay. The instrumentation,
Naomi Scott is a good
dog shit.
Okay.
You could say
it's terrible. I mean, I didn't have much to say other than I think Naomi Scott is a strong vocalist. You know, she remember the movie Lemonade Mouth. I don't know if you. You know the movie Lemonade.
I know the movie Lemonade Mouth.
She was in that.
Favorite of my childhood. I realized that today. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, I think I don't know. I think she's I think she's a talented vocalist. I think she's good at it. She was in Smile too, which I guess has resulted in us getting a Possession remake, but that's a whole other.
Everything is pain.
Everything is.
Anyways,
with all due respect, like I just want to. Yeah, no. Let's no more sides.
We get to one of my least favorite scenes in the film after Whole New World, where they're sitting on their magic carpet. Oh, I forgot to mention, Whole New World is also really ugly. It's one of the ugliest scenes in the movie.
It's fugly. It's fugly. We can say the word
it's
fugly
too
for
dark.
most of this movie, to be
CGI
honest.
is bad. It's just all around fucking dog shit. And they get back to Agrabah, and they sit on the magic carpet, and they're talking about the kingdom, and you know, Jasmine's like, it's beautiful, and he's like, the view? And it's like, no, those people down there, just the citizens of Agrabah. I love the citizens so much. I love them so much. I love them so much, Aladdin. Oh my god. She goes on about how like, I want to be their leader. I want to do right for them if I could be Sultan. So I could be for the people. And then in the same fucking breath, she talks about how she doesn't know anything about the citizens of Agrabah because she never goes outside. And it's like, do you not fucking hear yourself? Do you not see how hypocritical those two things are? Do you not see how that they don't fit together? You can't have her be this sheltered fucking nobody who doesn't know anything about Agrabah, and also have her be the best choice for Sultan. That
Nope.
they don't fit
That's
together.
just
These pieces don't
batshit.
fit.
That's insane.
You're creating problems. Oh my god. And fucking he comes back and he smashes Jafar's staff and shit fucking happens. Jafar gets the lamp. I don't even remember how Jafar gets the lamp in this one because he doesn't fucking have Iago to do a funny voice. He just takes it. Oh yeah, they do the thing where he tries to kill Aladdin, but you went over that.
Yeah.
That scene is also ugly, but you knew that. And
Yeah.
Jafar
How do you make every frame of a movie ugly, but like not on purpose?
be stupid. And Jafar becomes Sultan, and we get the full version of Jasmine's song, which is worse than the short version we heard earlier. It's like, I won't be silenced. And you know what the fucking funny part is? You talked about how, they altered the other songs to fit more in the Pasek and Paul style. And they did do that. And despite butchering the other songs for that sake, the original song still sticks out like a sore thumb. It still does not mesh with the other ones at all.
No.
So it was all for nothing.
No. It was all for nothing.
And she disintegrates people for some reason.
Yeah, it's like a dream scene, but we like to, the way we joked about it, you said something like, how come they didn't tell us about Jasmine's disintegration powers in the
How
original
come they
movie?
never addressed Jasmine's disintegration powers after this?
It's embarrassing, and they then she won't be silenced, and then they put her ass in a bubble dog.
Yep.
Put her in a bubble dog. Glinda
was cool. I actually meant to bring up Wicked.
Elphaba save me. Why? Because they can sing?
Well, yes, actually, but we're talking about like Pasek and Paul's style, and there's this great story from the production of Wicked Part 1, where they had Steven Schwartz work on the music for the movie because he did the stage show, and he was talking about like, the most iconic song from the show, popular, since it's Ariana Grande singing it, we want to change it to be a bit more hip hop, like kind of R&B to match with her normal singing. And Ariana Grande had this pitch to her, and she was like, "No, what? No, that's a stupid idea." And so, thankfully, she shot it down and made the choice to.
And she has the clout to shoot it down
as it's supposed to be performed, not altered to quote unquote fit her. She just, instead of the song fitting her, she changed herself to fit the song, because that's what good artists do.
She's acting. And she's a good actress.
She is a good actress. I love Ariana. They better not put her in one of these. Jesus. I will shoot myself.
Okay, but have you considered if they put her in one of these, she's gonna run that shit like the Navy, like with Wicked?
If they let her do a Wicked and backseat direct the movie, then I will be a bit more confident in it.
Wait, I can imagine it now. They put the same like core trio. They put John M. Chu for no fucking reason. They get her and they get Erivo back in.
For John
what?
M. Chu
I don't know. I don't care.
One of these. He seems like the type.
It's actually crazy that he hasn't, and he probably will if they keep going. Which they're still going, right? Like, Moana's gonna crack $1 billion again, and I'm gonna become
Satan.
Hashtag put
I'm gonna lay waste.
Ariana in Cruella to Ella. She can be the second Cruella.
Are they the second Cruella?
There'll be a big 2 on the poster, and it'll show that there's 2. This is the evil Cruella. Instead of having black and white hair, she has white and black hair.
It's the 2000s are back, baby.
Yep. And anyways, back to how many times have I said anyways? We keep going on tangents. Back to
this one is like I think we have to save our sanity.
Yeah, I would kill myself otherwise. In the scene where, you know, the Sultan gets dethroned and it's Jafar, we get this amazing, beautiful character moment for Hakim. And I know we all love Hakim. He was our favorite character in Aladdin.
Oh, of course, Hakim. He's so
I remember
fascinating.
When this movie came out, every kid went as Hakim for Halloween. It was crazy.
Absolutely
Everyone was
crazy.
The fucking Hakim action figures were flying off the shelves. The one question is, who is Hakim? So, this is a character who is basically an original character. I guess he's kind of standing in for the main guard in the original, but it's not really. He's like
the Jim Cummings character.
He's like the lead.
We never mentioned Jim Cummings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Jim Cummings is in the original as the guard who should have been fired at some point.
He's great.
And you know this guy, he's like the head of the palace guard, and you know he has to choose now between, you know, the real Sultan, the original Sultan, or Jafar, who wished himself to be Sultan. And at first he takes Jafar's side, but then they kind of plead with him, and he goes to the original Sultan. And they play this like this is a character we know. Who the fuck is this guy? Why? I don't know who this is. I don't care what decision he's gonna make. What? Who is this guy? Who are you?
Yeah, I don't know who you are. I know nothing about you.
There had to be like a
just
cut
got here.
scene with him earlier. That would, I don't fucking know. Oh. And fucking he blasts
once
Aladdin
again
off.
Embarrassing.
Except him blasting Aladdin off is fun. So he doesn't do that. He just teleports him. And there's no, you know, rolling tower set piece, because that would have been fun to see in live action. It actually would have been cool to see in live action with the better effects now, but no.
Yes.
And he's in the Antarctica, and he flies back to Agrabah, and the fucking move. Roxy, you need to continue without me.
Hey, you would be so lucky.
Well, you tell me, what happens when he gets back? It's a big CGI battle.
I think they put her ass in the. I can't remember when they put her ass in the bubble. Just remember they put her ass in the bubble.
I think it's when they came back, and oh my god, I just fucking remembered. They put her ass in the bubble as a substitute for her being in the hourglass in the original, because that added urgency and was a cool visual, so we can't have it. And also, they got rid of Slave Jasmine.
It's too stylized.
Now, did they get rid of Slave Jasmine?
Yeah, they did do
because
that.
It's misogynist. Probably. Is that a good reason? Yes.
And
should they have done it? No. How am I supposed to get aroused at the movie now? It doesn't make sense. Guy Ritchie, you're a hack. Anyway, it plays out like the original, you know.
But here's the thing. One of my favorite single images from the original Aladdin is the shot when Jafar becomes, you know, he's like unto a god, you know, when he's tricked into being
a genie, like wishing to become a genie, which first of all is worsened by the fact that Aladdin did not trick him in the same way he did the genie before. I don't know why you changed that. There was no reason to. But, same as usual. And what was it? So like you have that great shot where like he's like unto a god. He dwarfs the stars, he dwarfs the planets. He does in fact possess infinite cosmic power, and then you get to see that all taken away from him as he is crushed into this itty-bitty living space. It shows how much he's gained and then subsequently lost. He has the power of a god. He has the taste of it, and then it is swiftly, justly ripped away from him. It is a great shot, I think it's beautiful, and it's so like it shows how much power he actually possesses and how much he doesn't actually have, how much he can't use. And so how do we navigate this in the live action remake? He just kind of gets a little big.
Yes.
That's it. He's just a little big, maybe a little... Actually, thinking about it, isn't it maybe a little more problematic that he technically just kind of... He's not red anymore, he just kind of becomes a little more brown, which isn't... I feel like it's kind of fucked up,
looks a little burnt. I don't know if it's brown. He does get kind of like the Irish tan.
It's like a russet. It's like a russet.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's this incredible moment when you realize how much he's gained and how much he's lost, all of his own accord, like by his own behavior. It is then taken away from him, and I think it feels really good when you watch it. It feels really good to watch this guy get his comeuppance, because what could be better? What could be more ironic? He had it given to him, and then he had it taken away. And I think that's great. And then they just kind of made him mildly larger than he already was.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks.
They also
it's
cut
bad.
a great gag from the original, where Jafar tries to make his third wish that Jasmine would fall madly in love with him, and so Genie tries to say, "Hey, you're actually not allowed to wish that," but he cuts him off, and then Jasmine pretends that the wish works, and there's this amazing reverse shot after she like tries to quote unquote seduce him, where like Jafar is disgusted, Genie is disgusted, the Sultan is disgusted, and Aladdin is disgusted. It's so off-putting to everyone that Aladdin doesn't get to use his opportunity to sneak by that she's trying to give him, and they cut it here because it's mildly thorny and doesn't fit with Jasmine's new bad characterization.
Her new characterization, her non-characterization, frankly.
Her non-characterization, yes. And anyways, they defeat Jafar, Jafaint as we call them.
Jafaint, yes, we call him Jafaint, because this Jafar he ain't.
And fucking, instead of wishing the genie free, I mean, he does wish him free, but he wishes him to be human, so that he can go have a hetero romance with a servant girl.
Because the genie did say that he wanted to be human, so he gave him that.
Yeah, but like, why change it?
Like, especially because like they were like insistent on doing the sequel like immediately, so I'm like, then why did you make him human?
It's so much more boring. Let him fly off into the sunset. Let him go to Disneyland.
I'm mythology, baby.
He's not mythology. He's just Will Smith.
You know what? You know what I learned about him dressed up like he's going to Disneyland? I learned that is a reference to a video that Robin Williams did for Disney like a few years prior. Like I think it was in the 80s. So, like, that means that Genie is, in fact, dressed up like Robin Williams, which I think is cute.
That is cute.
Of course, he can't do that.
I people like say this like as a joke to like for like bad movies, but when this ended, I felt like genuine joy. I was sincerely so happy that it was done.
Yes, it's
We actually watch this. We usually like we call at least 1 or 2 times a week, and we usually start late at night. I started this early in the night specifically so that we could watch a better movie after this. We ended up watching A Hard Day's
we watched
Night.
A Hard Day's
It was
Night.
very good. Um, and it made
Yes,
the music in
I
this
made the
even
right
more
call because it was
embarrassing.
because I made the right call because we were like we gotta watch a fun one, and it was a fun one. He's very clean. um, in the end, we've talked about the value of sort of making things and making them your own. And I'm not gonna belabor the point because I feel like we've had our doom spiral episode already. This time we're getting mad. We made grenades out of the lemons and would burn your house down. Um, but like I saw Speed Racer in the theater yesterday, and if there's anything to learn, don't be so constantly ashamed of what you're doing tonally. Now, if what you're doing is a sort of thing that might genuinely amount to hurting other people, that's the kind of productive shame and guilt that one needs in life so that they can exist in the world with other people. But putting that aside, don't be embarrassed. Just don't do it. I struggle with it all the time. I struggle with the embarrassment of, what if people don't like this? What if people respond poorly to this or that? Or what if they find it embarrassing or cringe? And it's like, what happens when you think that way? You get this. You get a movie that is terminally embarrassed of all of its constituent parts. Embarrassed of the Broadwayisms, embarrassed of fantasy, embarrassed of abstraction and exaggeration. Embarrassed of Broadway, embarrassed of animation. It's embarrassed of animation as much as anything.
Mm-hmm.
It is a movie that harbors a great embarrassment and disdain for all of the pieces that it's built from, all of the things that it owes itself to and is indebted to. The next one, we talk about Lion. We're doing Lion King on this podcast next, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say this: it's a mess, and all you can really do is commit to the things that you do. Because I was sitting there in the theater, and I harbor a great admiration for the Speed Racer movie. We both do. One of the things I ended up thinking was they weren't embarrassed making that. They couldn't have been. They couldn't have been because the movie would have died immediately. It would have wilted catastrophically, irrevocably, and irreversibly. And the only way to make the movie was to believe in the movie. The only way to make the movie was to believe in every word that is said, to believe in its expression of love, of loving other people, of loving what you do, or having, at least a modicum of pride in what you do. Have some goddamn self-respect, loving the craft, loving your best friends, the people in your life. Just and never being ashamed or embarrassed by that. Don't be ashamed that you loved something, even if that thing is ultimately not great for you. Don't be ashamed that you cared, and don't be ashamed to make a decision born of love, a creative decision, and be ashamed of where that came from. Because it can come from any place. It can come from Broadway. It can come from old cartoons. It can come from old TV talk show hosts. It can come from various comedians. It can come from it can come from Peter Lorre, the legacy of Peter Lorre in animation. It can come from anywhere and any place. It can come from just your heart and from a belief in freedom, and just don't be ashamed. Become history, become mythology, become free.
That's what I think.
If I
I
could
think that's my take on this.
put what you said in my own words, I would probably say bad movie. Bad Aladdin movie. Bad job. Hate it. Hate Aladdin movie.
You did terrible. It's dreadful. It's dreadful,
bad.
and it
Advocate first degree murder.
advocate first degree murder. We have to beat up Sean Bailey. Guy Ritchie, I hope that you can sleep at night with the cost you had to pay to get out of movie jail.
Some costs are too high.
Some costs are too great.
So,
Sean Bailey, I curse you to the itty bitty living space. Your ass is going in the cube.
now that we've
So what?
discussed all 4 Aladdin films, how would you rank the Aladdin films?
First one obviously goes first, then it's King of Thieves, then it's Return of Jafar, then it's this one. The live action remake.
Do you believe mine is the exact same order?
And then where does it fit in the larger? It's I think you said that you put Dumbo at the bottom.
Yeah, originally I had Dumbo and then Beauty and the Beast, and you had them tied. And a while back I decided that I liked Dumbo less, but now I'm kind of feeling like maybe Beauty and the Beast is actually worse. So it's kind of all middled up down there. And actually, honestly, I think Aladdin might be worse than both of them, even though I previously said that Dumbo might be worse than Aladdin. Now that we've talked about it for 4.5 hours, it's really settled in.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is gonna be such a long episode. I don't even know where it starts.
We'll see. Probably when we start talking about the remake. And that was Aladdin.
Anyways,
we do have.
That was Aladdin.
If you want to say any, is there any final thoughts, or did you get them out with your previous statement?
I just want to give a shout out because we've before we finish up, we gave Robin Williams his flowers, obviously, because he did such tremendous work. But I'd also like to point to supervising animator for Genie in the original movie, Eric Goldberg, who did an incredible job matching that energy and like creating the wellspring of wonderful imagery, that Genie is comprised of. He did such tremendous work. And then also, just a quick side note, the direct-to-DVD Aladdin movies were co-written by the creators of Kim Possible. So I guess that's one of the things they cut their teeth on. So that's pretty neat. I think that's a cool thing. It's good to have, even if what you're making is ass, it's good to have an infrastructure where you can move up.
All I guess I want to say is that I am genuinely so fucking glad that this chapter of my life is over. I know. Yes,
it's over.
The Lion King will also be testing, but I do not have as much attachment to the Lion King. I'm completely serious when I say that. Like it upset me just to think about the remake. It is that every little piece of it is fucked. It's all little pieces of garbage piled on top of each other. Mistakes piling on top of mistakes. Bad performances. Bad CG. White boy. And that's about all I have to say about that forever.
Yes, and on that note, we have an announcement to make.
We do.
Which is it's gonna be good. We've been in the Disney live action remake mine so long that it's doing something to our brains. As such, we need to somewhat rectify this. So starting soon after we finish up on this episode of Live Action Remorse, we will be starting a new podcast where we talk about good movies. We will be starting a podcast entitled Infinity Mirror, where we talk about various things like double features and film series, spiritual trilogies, and the like. where, you know, we just sort of talk about how movies sort of reflect on and interact with each other. And we will be starting with Mervyn LeRoy's Little Caesar and Joel and Ethan Coen's Miller's Crossing. It's something that we've been looking forward to a lot, and then our looking forward to that has only been bolstered by the nightmare that has been even thinking about the Aladdin remake.
Yes. We've wanted to make a general movie podcast for a long time, long before live action Remorse. We just kind of stumbled into live action Remorse, and we were getting to the point where, especially for the Dumbo episode, it was taking a lot out of us. We were finding less things to say than we wanted to. And I think giving these movies space is going to give us time to reflect on them, and also just not get burnt out on them more than we already will. And also just a chance to talk about some movies that we like. Technically, not every movie on Infinity Mirror will be films we like. There will be some crappy ones thrown in too, but it will be a much easier load.
But we get to define that.
Now. Yeah, we get to decide.
We define the terms.
We decide it will be bad movies that we actually want to talk about.
Yes, we'll probably talk about Cat in the Hat at some point.
We probably will, and that's not a good movie, but oh my god, it is so interesting.
It is so interesting, you know, just we will, if anything else, we will always try and make sure that the things that we're talking about are things that interest us.
Yes. And hopefully they'll interest you.
And I think, yes. So, that's it for this episode of not Infinity Mirror. We're doing that next. But that's all for this episode of Live Action Remorse. Thank you for listening.
I should clarify. You'll be able to find Infinity Mirror on my Blue Tomorrow's YouTube channel, and it will be a separate podcast on podcast services. So look out for that. It won't be on the same
this umbrella.
Live Action Remorse umbrella. So next time you hear from us, we'll be talking about Little Caesar and Miller's Crossing, and then after we'll come back to Live Action Remorse to cover The Lion King, which will be testing. It'll be testing.
It will be testing, but hopefully we will come back a little refreshed, having engaged with some real movies in a podcast format. But yes, thank you for listening to Live Action Remorse. Once again, I've been Roxana.
I've been Nikki.
And thank you, and have a good day.
Bye-bye.